DJ Hobie. Yeah man, alongside the whole of the sound and the whole crew, the whole battle. The bass in South Africa, you don't know, say we got the whole
production.
Everybody knows that all vibes, yeah, the sound.
It is a Thursday, and you know what that means. It's the Men's Corner Show with yours truly, DJ Sodza.
You're listening to Zimbabwe's finest radio station, broadcasting worldwide. Zimnet Radio, the people's choice. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You are listening to DJ Sodza live on Zimnet Radio. Make the whole world know about your business. Advertise with Zimnet Radio. Email marketing@zimnetradio.com.
Shumari, unozenyedze Zimnet Radio idzi. Ndaswera panapa ndichiterera mhanzi, vamwe vachidonhedza ndiro dzakapenga. Iwe garapa. Ndati garapa unzwe masounds ari kudonhedzwa panapa. iZimnet chete iyoyi.
Unenzera semasoja sekuzebana tote era emdemo yose nenzera zakanaka unenzera semasoja sekuzebana tote era emdemo yose nenzera zakanaka tesare tinotora Lleno de matero, sosera ese nosotros, satura como venguita, ahora ese neseca, curo llene revano, cote matendo ese, sacanangan tangano, padara esa no tenga, nenzera sacanaka, Mozo nosotros, Samunenge matora, Badara no tenga, Nenzira sacanaka, Mozo nosotros, Samunenge matora, Tesare tinotora, Lleno de macedo, Sosera ese nosotros, Satura como venguita, ahora ese neseca, curo llene verano, cote matendo ese, sacanangan sangano, tisa ete cheopomwe, mohondo eche mrenga, tesa nese vasungwa, vatinenge tabata, tisa ete cheopomwe, mohondo eche mrenga, tesa nese vasungwa, vatinenge tabata, tesa etinotora, lleno de macero, sosera ese nosotros, satura como venguita, ahora ese neseca, curo llene revano, cote matendo ese, sacanangan sangano, aya neo mashoko, akata urakare, naevo mamao, vachitesesa, aya neo mashoko, akata urakare, naevo mamao, vachitesesa, tesa etinotora, lleno de matero, sosera ese nosotros, satura como venguita, ahora ese neseca, curo llene revano, cote matendo ese, sacanangan sangano. Unenzera semasoja sekuzebana tote era emdemo yose nenzera sakanaka unenzera semasoja soja zekuzibatana sote mtemoyo.
Right, thank you so much, Zimbabwe. Thank you so much for listening in and for tuning in. My name is DJ Sodza, Chiwenga, and I am coming to you live from the Kingdom, Kuhamba side, northeast of England. Welcome to those that are just tuning in for the very first time. This is what we do on the show. We come up with different topics, political topics that are happening in Zimbabwe, and also we do interviews here with those in politics back home in Zimbabwe to try and shed a light on how they are getting on, especially with this general election, the so-called general elections coming up very soon. But a couple of weeks ago we discussed a little bit about why we don't have a date yet for these upcoming elections, and there was lots of opinions there as well in the discussion. Now, for those that have missed most of our shows or any show here, you're always free to go back and listen to it. There's two ways you can do. We have got all our past shows on YouTube. All you've got to do is go on YouTube and search for DJ, put a space on it, and Sodza, and all the shows that we have broadcast here are all there on YouTube. Also, you can listen back on our website, www.zradio.com, and you just go on Men's Corner Podcast. All the podcasts are there and ready for you to listen back on some of the shows that we've done. Now, for those of you guys who have been following the show for many years, you remember before the English Premier League started, I think it was the first week of the Premier League, I had a bet here with Sekuru that he said that the Premier League will be going to London, a team in London, and I said it was going to Manchester, and we bet, and it was, I think, Mbudzi, I think so, yes, we'll confirm that with Sekuru in a minute. So I just want Sekuru to give me Mbudzi yangu. Maybe I might share with some of you guys in the UK. We might have gochi somewhere. Sekuru, welcome to the show.
Yewo mzukuru wangu.
Maswera say.
Maswera say makadi muri eZimbabwe.
Yes, Sekuru ndakanyorerwa email nemwe mzukuru wenyu svikanzi. Please, could you remind Sekuru to give you your gods, because makaita bet live on radio, so Sekuru should oblige.
Iriko. Enda papa anduno pasu apa papa.
Ndo pasiwa, yes.
Ingonosvika unobata yaunoda any size.
Papa angu chirambiwe. Thank you so much, Sekuru. Ndinokwanisa kutuma mukoma wangu here kana kuti I have to go ndega mbune.
Mukoma wangu wakapinda mubhetere.
Aiwa, wanopinda.
Yeah, saka iwewe une license to go there and get your mbudzi.
Oh, okay, all right.
But you've got to catch it, eh?
I can catch it, yeah, there's no problem. Right. Sally, welcome to the show. How are you there in South Africa?
Okay, good evening, DJ. So, good evening, Masakuru. Good evening, Wilbert. Good evening, Zimbabweans, wherever you are. I hope you've had a good week.
Thank you so much.
Sally.
Yeah, I'm so glad to see you there. I thought you were going to chicken out.
And you watch.
I thought you were going to run away from paying Sodza's bet.
Not at all. And you remember, you still owe me the jongwe.
Why?
What did you say?
I said it was going to be Man City.
Did you?
Yeah. I agreed with Sodza.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I lose, you are going to give me a jongwe and I will give Sodza.
My Sekuru.
That's what you said.
Yeah, well, if you come, you've got to come to South Africa to get the jongwe.
At least I never walked out of my bed. Why do you start resisting?
Sekuru, I will argue till the day I die. When they put me inside my coffin, if you listen very carefully, you'll hear me arguing.
It's like Chamisa fighting the MDCT constitution.
Oh, all right. Okay.
How can you compare me to Chamisa? No.
All right. Okay. Please hold on. Please hold on.
That's an insult.
Yes, I'm coming a little bit. How is Manchester tonight?
Manchester is nice and warm. Hello, everybody. Hello, Sekuru. Hello, Sally. Hello, everyone, wherever you are.
Hello, Mr. Kori. Are you ready to go on?
I'm okay. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm glad that we're getting the goat. So that just remember, I just want Musoro Wembuzi chat.
No problem.
And that you will have to ask. That you will have to ask him Zuguruga, because he's not the owner of the goat.
Okay, thank you so much. Mkoma Wilbert, I think let me start with you today. Whilst we wait for some others to join in as well, I mean, how surprised were you with the firing of the nurses who took industrial action against the government, complaining about the pay and the working conditions in our hospitals back home?
I must admit, I was really surprised. I think this only shows what kind of a regime we are dealing with here. They still continue to believe that they and they alone are have got the right to rule and say what they like. Because when you're looking at somebody like Chiwenga, particularly somebody like him, taking into consideration that here is somebody who lives in a mansion with a fleet of cars, and last time when he had this divorce with his first wife, we heard that he had as many as 45 golden watches, plus so many businesses, farms, and so forth. And somebody says, well, we want a better salary, better than the $284 a month. He fires them because they're being greedy. God, I can't believe it. And only a few weeks ago, his wife is the one who actually went and took that farm growing seed, which would help the economy. And now we understand the farm, they've taken it over, and all the workers they've been laid off, and the seed that they were producing necessary for sustaining the nation, production is stopped, and if that is not being greedy, I don't know what is. And the husband goes ahead and fires somebody just because they ask for more than for a bit more money than the $284 a month that they are getting. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. And we must remember that the army people, including Chiwenga himself, have been looting in Marange. And this is not a question of guesswork. It's known, it's documented, and it has been going on for a long time. And although they've fired other people and they've been going after some of those corrupt people since the coup, the army itself has not come up and stopped their looting in Marange. And no one, even the parliamentary committee, have tried to summon some of the army guys to appear before it, and they've refused to do so. And so the looting in Marange by the army is continuing. And Chiwenga, as Minister of Defense and as a former commander there, he would know a lot more about the looting there. And he himself cannot tell me his mansion, he bought it using the general's salary. So the looting is definitely going on, and there's been going on. And yes, somebody who has benefited greatly from it, and he dares fire nurses for asking for more than $284 a month. It's just unbelievable. This is pure arrogance at its worst.
Pure arrogance at its best. Okay. Thank you so much. And Suziam, come a little bit. Who is Chiwenga to fire these people? Has he got the rights to fire these nurses?
Well, I think he was just firing them in his capacity as a vice president. I don't know whether Mnangagwa was out of the country because he seems to have been bitten by the bug that was eating Gabi alive as well for globetrotting. You know, ever since he became president, he has been spending, every 2 weeks. He spends at least 3 or 4 days out of the country, on foreign trips. So he could have been acting. I'm not sure whether it was when Mnangagwa was out of the country and he was acting president. And so he was flexing his muscle as acting president.
Right.
So.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mkoma, a little bit. Because I've got concern about that actually, because who is he to fire these nurses? I'm wondering here because I don't know. Is it part of his job to fire these people? It's another question for another day. Sekuru, what did you make of all this debacle?
Problem that we now have is we have got people who are above the law in every respect. Masquerading as a government when they are in fact a junta. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not surprised that Chiwenga would make that fatal mistake of pronouncing that he has fired people who do not even have anything to do with what he does in government. Because as far as I'm concerned, the nurses are employed by a board which has been set by the Public Service Commission, and that board has got absolutely no relationship with Chiwenga's duties as deputy president or whatever, in whatever capacity. He cannot hire or fire any of them. And whatever he has done is just an empty announcement of having done something when he has done absolutely nothing.
So Guru, because indeed I was wondering as well that who is Chiwenga? He has got no capacity to hire any nurse or to fire any nurse in Zimbabwe. Now, why is he coming out and saying that those nurses are now fired? What is all this?
You see, Chiwenga has never shed his jacket as commander of the defense forces, where he used to issue decrees, orders, radio messages. We call them radio messages. He is just issuing a directive to say, don't strike or I'll fire you from my government. He thinks that the people are employed by the current government. The nurses are employed by the current government. No, they are not. They are employed by the state of Zimbabwe. And the state is a divorce entity from the government of the day. So if Chiwenga, if he reads the constitution, he should have known. I doubt if he is able to read it anyway. But he should have known that the state employs the public service workers, not the government of the day. That is why.
So, Seguru, I'm just wondering, what is way forward here? If someone is listening now who has got his or her relative who was caught up with this firing, what should these people do at this present time?
They've already done the correct thing. They have written to him through their association, the Zimbabwe Nurses Association. to say, Mr. Chiwenga and the board, can you please withdraw that statement? Or we'll take you to court.
Aha. Okay, right. So we shall see the outcome of that. Sekuru, thank you so much for your contribution there. I don't know, Sally, what did you make of all that? And I saw my Mujuru yesterday at Paringa Hospital there. I almost shed a tear here.
And I saw today, okay, I think it was Chiwenga, one of those beautiful morons, turning around and blaming the nurses for the breakdown in the healthcare. Dear Lord above. The healthcare didn't break down yesterday, number one. Okay, and number two, the nurses had nothing to do with the breakdown of the healthcare. The corruption in government had to do with supplying and resupplying of the hospitals and issuing the money that was needed and everything else. Okay, they are the ones, ZANU-PF, those beautiful people in power. It doesn't matter whether it was Mugabe or Mnangagwa and Chiwenga or whoever. They all the same, okay? They looted the healthcare absolutely to -0. Now you want to blame nurses. Do you know how many of those nurses have taken money out of their own pockets to save patients' lives? You can't even buy, you can't even get a Panado in the hospital in Masvingo, where my sister is. You've got to go and buy it. Okay? Her little grandson was in hospital last week. All right? They had to go and buy the medicine to give to him. Now, for those people that don't have the money, what happens? Nurses have taken money out of their pockets to help people, to save people. And this banana fingers man, okay, wants to come and fire nurses. Who is he? Okay, this is not the army. It's not his private playground either. He had no right to do what he did, okay? There was no reason for it. They are the ones that have looted the country dry, that ZANU-PF band of thieves, okay? And now they want to blame the nurses for the breakdown of healthcare.
All right. Yeah, Sally, you are not happy with the situation.
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. But I want to read what Mkoma Benford is sending me. Mkoma Benford, thank you so much for getting in touch. If you are out there and you want to participate, please do so. You can, I'm interactive on WhatsApp. WhatsApp number 0798 4455 349. That's 0798 4455 349. Or you can drop me a message on Skype. I'm interactive right now. Skype ID yangu Kunokuma Studios, Zimnet Main Radio. Just request to be part of our friends and I'll accept you and you can start chatting. Mkoma Bedford is saying that Mkoma Sodza, here is my 2 cents on this topic. I find the nurses the demands by nurses to be unrealistic. We all know that 90% of the national budget is already going towards salaries. To demand any salary increase at this time is being very unrealistic. I think the nurses were sacrificed to send a message to all civil servants that going on strike will not be tolerated at all. Teachers, if they try to be funny when schools open, they will be fired as well, and they are qualified people to take over. There's lots of qualified other teachers to take over in Zimbabwe, right? Chiwenga simply announced, but the relevant board will be given instructions to fire the nurses. That's Mkoma Benford. They're writing to us from America. Tetewe Mashoko, welcome to the show.
Hey, Maradini.
Tinofara chose. You think the nurses have gone nuts demanding any money in Zimbabwe where the country has got no money at all?
Hai bodo. Kana pano chinhu chikaipa nguva yese tinofanira kudzokera pakuti root of the problem yabva nekupi. How did we get here? And how we got here simply is because of Zuro ndi Zuro vanhu vaicelebrate kuti Chiwenga aitaku it's better than nothing. It's like being kunonzi kudi kuva abducted or kidnapped nemapenzi in an asylum. And then rimwe benzi rofa, and then you are taken over nerimwe benzi what well benzi riri nani than the other one. So this was bound to happen. Chiwenga igandanga ana grooming, is not professional, ana musi wakapinda muklasi yebusiness, ana munhu aka. Those who know him personally, they no teacher will tell you Chiwenga has never taken orders from anybody. Chiwenga has dished out orders. He has always been known for being ruthless. The problem is quiet. As for negotiating and what the country has gone through, then vanozia diplomacy. Then paripo pavashoa unhu hwavo chaiwo chaiwo kuziya kuti they've made the country suffer. It's on its knees by simply saying, you know what, iye zvino tiri kunzwa zvichemo zvenyu zvatazvinzwa isusu takanyanya hedu kuba tikasiya makofas asina zvinhu. Saka isusu pakashoma kacho katakasiya ikako chitimirirai timoti panguva yakati maybe in 5 years, in 2 years topota tichikupai increment. As the country gets on its feet, munhu wese anofanira kunge aine masalaries anoita kuti vanhu vave decent living. Decent living. That is humility, that is leadership, that is ubuntu. To say go jump mess, fired, then how do you replace my skills that are built over years? Even those people, yeah, they're right, yeah, that's just, I don't know. Because or lawyers, it took you 4 years of university, then another 4 years they put independently, you can say, yeah, do you say any field in Indonesia? And then somebody just comes and voted the whole country go. Yet my videos were circulating where they don't have the basics. I agree with Sally. Most of them have resorted to hama dziri kunze dzichivatumira zvinhu vakaenda kuSouth Africa vounza votundwa vanouyana vakaenda kuIndia. Rather than being grateful, now people are reaping what they actually thought, well, ndo zvataplanta izvi, maybe it's better. No. Vana Chiwenga magora, and if they think mazuva ari kuteera vachavavhotera, things are going to get better, think again. Zimbabwe ine resources, ine platinum iye zvino, ine vanhu vakatsvukirira maziso kudai kuti tikuda kuuya kuzoita mine. This is a good tester of what's to come.
Muchikwerapo tete.
Ndiripo zvangu, ndiri kukunzwa.
Thank you so much for your contribution there. It's ever fantastic contribution. Tete Rozimaswera seko ku America.
Oh, the square, Masquera.
Yes, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, today you're not my friend. You were late.
Yes, we're going through. We have an audit next week, so we've been getting ready. So I've been busy.
Oh, you're busy. Okay. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here tonight. I'm just wondering if you've been following what Chiwenga did to come out and fire the nurses that were demonstrating.
Yes, I don't know what's wrong with these people, but honestly, I don't even take it seriously because I feel like it's some type of distraction. I mean, distraction from what things that actually really matter. Because I don't understand why in an election year they would fire all the nurses. It's like they don't care that there's elections. My first thought was they don't really care that there's an election coming up, so they don't care who's going to vote for them. They're going to go around firing anybody who demonstrates.
It's a
It just
surprise.
doesn't make sense to me. I just feel like there's more. I just feel like it's a distraction from what's actually going on, and it still goes back to how I feel about the fact that they're not worried about elections. These people. It doesn't make sense. Why would you fire why would you fire the nurses? And even the incoming nurses, when you say you have plenty of labor, people who can replace those nurses, that's a terrible attitude to have. Even those nurses coming in, we can be fired at any time if we don't conform and do what we're supposed to do. Number two, those nurses, they're demonstrating. Why are they demonstrating? These nurses are working. Have you seen the hospital conditions in Zimbabwe? That's an unsafe working environment for a nurse to be even practicing in an environment yakadaro. It's not safe for the nurse, it's not safe for the patient. Furthermore, sometimes they don't even get their paychecks. So these people are expected to just work for nothing. And when they speak up, they're fired. Yet ZANU-PF is buying campaign cars, they're going to China, hiring private planes with their families and going. They're doing all kinds of stuff. And then you wonder, these people, they are supposed to win an election with this attitude. How are they going to win an election? They don't care about winning an election because obviously there's something they know that we all don't know.
So it's interesting you come with another dimension there, Rosie, that you see, you do wonder that in an election year, we are 2-3 months away from it, and this is like a public relations disaster, isn't it?
Yes, in any other place that's normal, it would be. This would spell them getting not winning an election. They already cannot win a free and fair election to begin with. And then now they're telling people, I can bet you right now, what a nurse makes, those people and their kids, is probably spending more than in a day.
Yes.
But yet a nurse is fired for a salary for a month, which is next to nothing that they barely get. And then on top of that, you get fired, and then you're working in an unsafe working environment for you and the patient. And then that person turns around and says you're fired. And then you're supposed to vote for those same people. And we're all watching all of this. We're all voters. And you're telling me, Kuti, these people don't know something? They know something about the election.
Yeah, another interesting thing, Rosie, is that, I don't know, there in America, would a vice president there in America go and fire the nurses there without the president, saying anything about it, or without,
First of all, why would the vice president, is he in charge of the health department?
That's another issue, isn't it?
Is he in charge of, who is in charge of these nurses? Is it the vice president? Is the vice president now in charge of different labor departments what labor laws are they following? What law is being followed in Zimbabwe right now? Those are Zimbabwe. We have issues. Yes, that's it. Zimbabwe has no rule of law. And there's something going on, and it goes back to, we can look at it as people got fired. The bigger issue right now is people got fired in an election year, and these people they don't even care. They're not even moved. They don't even look worried that they have an election coming up. And no win an election. Let's not lie to each other. Let's be honest and look at things that are right in front of us. And start understanding something's going on. We might not know what it is exactly, but we obviously not going to a place where the average Zimbabwean has rights or gets anywhere or gets to succeed or gets to voice who they are or gets to a better life. That's not the direction we're going, obviously.
Aiwa, it's very interesting indeed what is happening there in Zimbabwe at the moment. I don't know, I want to go back, maybe let me start Nemi Teterosi there. I know that, it's maybe one of those issues that you don't really want to talk about. But happy independence to you anyway, belated independence.
Yes, happy independence.
Yes.
The happy independence to all the nurses who got fired. They're quite independent, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know. Just a simple question there. Are you still celebrating independence in this year?
No, to be honest with you, I stopped celebrating independence as soon as once I started knowing things, knowing what was going on. I never really looked at Zimbabwe as an independent country.
Right. So for you, there's no independence at the moment. Okay. Thank you so much for that.
What is there to celebrate?
Right.
What realistically, munhu chaya akagara ane pfungwa ukatarisa vanhu vari kuZimbabwe right now kune vana vari kumaruzeva vari kutadza kuenda kuchikoro chiri kuita $10 vari kutadza kuenda kuchikoro but umwe munhu ari kukwira ndege ye$3 million. That child ari kumaruzeva ari kutadza kukwira ndege ari kutadza kuenda kuchikoro che$10 school fees ari kushaya $10. That child has no future. And you say we're independent. Black empowerment yacho iri papi. Nationalism yekuti I'm black, I'm empowered. I fought the struggle. I was fighting for equality. To see myself having an equal share in the world where I have equal opportunities. Where is the black empowerment? Hakuna. And it's not coming. So let's be realistic about independence.
Okay. So, another issue I have there, I'm going to ask everyone on the panel, the other issue I have is that Chamisa went to the National Sports Stadium yesterday, and I can recall Changirai boycotted those events altogether. And I'm pretty sure if he was still alive, maybe he wouldn't have gone there, because when was the last time he attended Independence Day there? I can't remember. Now, Chamisa going there, does it say anything about maybe it's the change of dispensation they are saying? Some people are very skeptical that we are being led into a GNU here and into a one-party state. I don't know. Are there any clues to tell us that? What did you make of it? Do you think it was right for him to go there?
To be honest with you, when it comes to Chamisa, what he does, right or wrong, to me is of no significance anymore. I'm just being honest. You can't comment on anything because you're a hater. So I've just left it to people. We have to learn our own lessons. Vanhu vakamhanya mumastreets vakati new dispensation pakapinda ana Chiwenga vanhu vachimhanya tichitaura kuti haizi new dispensation iyi. This is not a new dispensation. Tikatukwa muri kuzvitaurira here hamusi kuda progress. Saka no, you know what, sometimes that's saying unofana kuzvionera pamunhu sefodya. We just have to see for ourselves and let people learn their own lessons, because dialogue yechokwadi Zimbabwe is not about truth. People don't want to hear the truth. They can't handle the truth.
All right. So you don't really want to know about it, whether he goes there or not.
Whether he goes or doesn't go, when people know it's of no consequence what he does. Kuti ivo vari kutaura kuti hanzi maelection acho awinwa ane chii takangomirira kuona, because kana vari kutaura with confidence it's only a matter of time kuti tione kuti zviri kuenda kupi.
Aiwa. Patrine, Teteo Mashoko.
Yeah, boy.
Yes, Teteo Mashoko. Can I come to you? Are you still celebrating independence?
But I didn't. That's
Sorry?
an insult.
Have you ever celebrated independence in Zimbabwe?
ndichiri kuzima kuti tichiri vadikizve independence ichitorwa hau pakauya nabob marley nanani naprince charles yes.
So when did you
ndofunga 10 years I think somewhere there.
okay.
You know what, just a bit of history. Simba Makoni was originally meant to take over from Mugabe. Then ndokuba paita power struggle isina kunzwisisika. He was in Botswana or something with the other. He was the head of something. And then obakwaya yainzi ASAP. Meno zvayaifa kuita so. And the economy started collapsing. Those were the beginnings of nightmares. Harare munoziva kuti isusu generation yedu vanhu vaienda kuEngland were very few and vaidzoka kumba. Because we had everything. Zimbabwean dollar was 1 to 1 a pound. And these same people have the audacity to actually dictate kuti no iye zvinezvi mamufana kuita zvakati and mukakomplaina just be complacent. They treat people like slaves. You know, Zimbabweans are treated like slaves. Don't you dare talk tinokushaikisa pamhepo. And let's give you an example. Vonyatsotora dzamara wavaiziya kuti ndiye ari pamusoro wachona kuti this is what will happen to you. That's what these people are like. The very people who a few months ago were celebrating kuti vatora nyika. There is nothing to celebrate or even discuss or even to say about Zimbabwe iye zvino nestate yairi. It's just sad. It makes you angry. So even to show you the disrespect, disregard, and kutorwa vanhu kuitwa mafools nevanhu ivava. Musi weindependence, Chiwenga of all people, Minister of Education, where health ndiani. Negotiations acho akambonyatsoburiswa kunzi isusu tarisai tiri kuti vanhu pakati tiri kunegotiate nevanhu zvakati zvine transparency zvakanaka zvikadi. You know why my generation are so angry? You know, I see people like Savannah and others very so angry, and people are like, yeah, you're attention seeking and whatever. And I'm like, you know what, you know nothing. Munoziva kuti isusu taienda kuBotswana tatisinganogare kana kuti uchipfuura uchienda kuSouth Africa. The reason was maimune one traffic light. Yet iye zvino maZimbabweans ese akazara muBotswana. One traffic light. We were a beacon. Zimbabwe was, it's like being robbed blind and then being told, don't you have the audacity to say you've been robbed? What the youth, our generation, the way vanoita tear down vanhu rather than to help vanhu kuti vaite something, just decency. Vanhu vaende kubasa vave ne clean water, never mind the rest. But all people do is to bicker to enable a few kuti vave ne millions. Botswana, going back to Botswana yakava zvairi because of diamonds. Mari diamonds emuZimbabwe hapana ari kuziva kwairi. Yakanzi yakabiwa ngoshaika zvayo mumepo. And people say nothing about it and expected Chiwenga to be, I don't know what they expected. It's sad. It's sad.
It's sad. So if you was Chamisa yourself, you wouldn't have gone to this independence.
No, I get him. I hope I'm not mistaken. But I get him. Chamisa is trying to pull all angles. Yeah, you know, people think Chamisa is stupid. I beg to differ. If you watch my videos, if you listen to him talking, he is a very shrewd person. If you remember, even Paakatora Power, I told you, Chamisa, I actually admire him for his shrewdness. He's not somebody that I would trust personally in the sense that he would knife you if you are in his way. With ease. You know, you'll be backstabbed because when they're ambitious, that's what they're like. One thing Chandinoda about him and why people can't really pin him down, he seems to be guided in his faith. He, like all human beings, they err. He does. but I have hope in him in the sense yekuti he's pulling everybody together. Akaenda kumba kwa is it kwa Ngomo? Akaenda kwa uyu anonzi aitukirira vanhu stereki wemacomrades uyu Sibanda. And now akaenda kunankere. He is just showing humility and that it can be done where people can actually sit, talk and so forth. But no, I didn't read too much into that. As usual, it's the same people again. When we believe in divide and rule, no, not at all, not at all. He knows what he's doing.
Aiwa, thank you so much, Teto Mashoko, for that contribution. Regarding kuna Tete Sali, Tete Sali, you still celebrating independence?
I forgot it was even Independence Day yesterday. How's that for a fantastic celebration?
Oh yeah, it is fantastic.
Yeah. You know, how do you celebrate when there isn't even health care for anybody? How do you celebrate that? How do you celebrate when people are dying in hospitals? I don't understand how people can celebrate when there is nothing to celebrate. You think, you know, I'm going to go back a little bit, okay? At the time when this coup happened, and the people were all dancing in the street, okay? And they were going pengas, and I was watching all the videos, and I was thinking, oh, it's so lovely to see people really letting themselves go for a change, okay? It's like watching people being released from 20-year jail sentences. And then it suddenly hit me. Hang on a minute. This is still ZANU PF. But now you are getting the real waif and strays of ZANU PF. Okay? The lag behinders, the whatever. I mean, Chiwenga as vice president. Dear Lord, help us. Then you tell me, okay, and you shout at me and you insult me because I turned around and I said, what are you celebrating? Why are you celebrating? It's the same dog. The master might have changed, but the dog is the same, or the horse is the same, or the car is the same, or whatever you want to call it. It's still the same. ZANU PF. Now you have got the murderer of Baghdad in charge. Okay? That army that you were all celebrating and the prostitutes were giving free sex to, that's the very army that in 2008 murdered the knickers and raped the knickers out of people. And then you have the audacity to tell me, wait and see. Give him a chance. Give the murderer of Baghdad a chance. What? To come and murder me again? I'm not stupid. I'm not very well educated, but hey, I'm not stupid. Okay? And then you want to say, oh, we must celebrate. Celebrate what? There's no new dispensation. What is Mnangagwa? Where's his party? ZANU PF. Who's Chiwenga's party? Which he shouldn't have had a party in the first place. Being in the army, he should have been apolitical, which is neutral. ZANU PF. All those others. I mean, even Jonathan Moyo and his trying to act that he was so holy. Where's he? ZANU PF. So please, don't ask me to celebrate if there is nothing to celebrate. And don't tell me to give the murderer of Baghdad and old Stumglum there a chance. A chance for what? They couldn't do it for 38 years. Now you want a chance for what? And then you get people saying, "Oh, you've got to forgive, and you've got to say, oh well, maybe they changed." Oh yeah, ZANU-PF really changed in 38 years, didn't it? Those same people there, okay, that are standing there celebrating and spending money like it's growing off trees and everything else, okay? They were there for 38 years. They never stopped Mugabe from doing anything. Not one of them stood up and said, what you're doing is wrong. He slaughtered 20,000 people. And not one of them stood up and said, this is not right. And you know the best joke of everything? President Shiri the other day saying Mugabe was a dictator. But President Shiri was so far up Mugabe's butt, okay, he hadn't seen daylight for 20,000 years. Now he's got the audacity to say Mugabe was a dictator. Oh, please. You people, anybody that votes for ZANU-PF, if they win, you deserve them. You deserve it. The problem is the people that don't are the ones that are going to suffer. You want to keep on suffering. Why don't you lie down on a road and let the trucks keep on running up and down over you? Because that's what voting for ZANU-PF will do again and again. For 38 years, ZANU-PF has been fiddling, diddling, wheeling, dealing, and staying in power. To the end that we don't even have a healthcare system for the poor people.
Right.
How many clinics in the rural areas have closed?
Yeah, Sally, thank you so much for your contribution there. Right. Sekuru. Yes, Sekuru, I don't know, you still celebrating independence?
In independence, the last one that I celebrated was in 1980.
Amen.
So in 1980, you did celebrate. After that, there was no independence in Zimbabwe. In fact, Zimbabwe is not independent as we speak.
No, it's independent from white domination, but it's not independent from ZANU-PF. It's wrong.
Okay.
So there was nothing to celebrate after we say we are now going to determine our own destinies as a people, and then somebody starts these projects like PEM. And then there we go to Ngomo. We are going to destroy Ngomo. Now we've destroyed Ngomo. Now we must destroy all these white people and take our farms back. Now we destroy everything now. Now we have destroyed everything. And then they say we want the white men back. Well, what is there to celebrate now?
All right, Sekuru, there is not.
Where is our independence? Where is our independence? Is it our choice that we must destroy first to rebuild? Or we must improve on the renovate what we've got and improve on it? Why must we celebrate destruction and then failed reconstruction? I don't find myself in a comfortable zone there when I am supposed to celebrate our independence, and yet that independence doesn't seem to be within me. It is located elsewhere, outside me. So to be quite frank with you people, this whole business of anybody who is associated with ZANU on independence and saying this is a national event, this is not a national event, this is a ZANU-PF event. And whatever ZANU-PF touches tends to something that is destructive. So for any rational, sharp mind to be associating themselves publicly with that kind of a regime on a day when the same regime is destroyed the health sector, which was ailing in the first place. Now they've completely destroyed it. It's no longer functional. They've nullified everything because there is nobody to give the care that is required. And then you go and they fight with them and you go and enjoy with them. Then after that you write a Twitter message or something like that and say this is a wrong decision to fire nurses. Who will do that nonsense when you were drinking tea with them the previous day and they're celebrating? We must be careful how we project ourselves to those people that we think should vote for us or should be with us. Who are we standing for? It's no use us trying to attract ZANU-PF to MDC-T or the MDC alliance by acquiescing to their own way of doing things. It doesn't help because all it means is that we are being swallowed slowly by a monstrous anaconda. And we don't see it. What is this project? You do one parade rallies MDCT. Do you think ZANU-PF will ever parade an MDCT or an opposition member on their rally? All in the name of showing Batana. If you go to a ZANU-PF rally and they are paraded, it means you have bought into their school of thinking. You are a project, they are using you for some purpose, like they did to Ngomo. MDC, I won't be surprised if it becomes another SAPU project.
I must say, Sekuru, on that note, a lot of people are coming on the back, on my Skype and everywhere, telling me that really this is where we are heading to. But, that's for another day. We shall see what next year brings.
Yeah, but for me, it's not shrewd, it's not independence, it's not being clever, it's not being smart. It is acquiescing to a system which you don't even understand. Or alternatively, you have been promised something that paid a personal
Make the whole world know about your business. Advertise with Zimnet Radio. Email marketing@zimnetradio.com. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You are listening to DJ Sodza live on Zimnet Radio. You're listening to Zimbabwe's finest radio station, broadcasting worldwide. Zimnet Radio, the people's choice.
It is a Thursday, and you know what that means. It's a men's corner show with yours truly, DJ Sodza.
Ramakanda, Titi,
semasoja zekuzibatana zote tevera mtemo yose nenzira dzakanaka kunenzira semasoja zekuzibatana zote tevera mtemo yose nenzira dzakanaka tisare tinotora zeno zematero zoterai zeno zote zatorwa kumuvenge taurai zeneseka kuru jengewe vano kote matembesese zakananga msangano badarai zamnotenga nenzira zakanaka moto zeno zote zamunenge matora badarai zamnotenga nenzira zakanaka moto zeno zote zamunenge matora
Pastor's name, Warrior Zimbabwe, 7 minutes gone after the hour of 11. And we are live from the United Kingdom. My thanks to you guys, and also my thanks to those that come up here every Thursday and try and share what they think of what will be happening in Zimbabwe there. For those that participate through other means, my WhatsApp, my messages, Skype, thank you so much. I'll endeavor to your messages that are coming through. And I've got a message here from, let me see, who is this one? He said that, DJ, why not invite Chamisa as he will in the country, so he answer some of these questions on his own. Right. Thank you so much, Mkoma, for that. We are trying to work on that. See if we can have him here on the radio, so that maybe he can shed a light on some of the questions that people have got. Right. Mkoma Wilbert, are you still there?
I'm here.
Right. Yeah. Last time Tambo Zabuku Dana you didn't hear us, but anyhow. I
thought you were calling Bedford. No, sorry.
Yeah, you were calling Benford.
Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, it's getting old. That's what happens, isn't it?
For sure.
Yeah, it's getting old. Sekura, you're going to say that it's getting old. Right. Mukoma Wilbeti. I mean, do you still celebrate independence in this day and age?
Well, I must admit, I have stopped celebrating. I liked one of your contributions you read out there, of somebody talking of Ethiopians celebrating a victory against the Italians or whatever. That is important. Or celebrating a birthday. That is important. That has happened. In Zimbabwe, we cannot pretend that Zimbabwe is independent when we are not. And that is the point. You know, in this particular case, if we are going to go to National Stadium to celebrate independence, it means that we have got to believe that, yes, this is what we were talking about. Whereas what has happened here is the whole project, the whole value, principles, everything we were hoping to achieve in fighting the civil war, has not happened. The whole thing was hijacked by Robert Mugabe and his cronies. You know, if we don't have free and fair elections, if we don't have the right to work, if we don't have the right to ask for a living wage, how can we say we are independent? You know, and I think this is where some people get mix the two up. Just because Mugabe say we are now independent doesn't mean that we are. You know, this issue we've been talking about, and it really has got to the point where these issues must now be addressed. We can't keep on pretending that we have got a meaningful independent nation when we don't. Mugabe and ZANU-PF have kidnapped, hijacked everything, and the resources, and if 90% are unemployed, these are serious issues that should be addressed. And we can't be told, no, sweep them under the carpet, let's go and celebrate independence. No. It's about time people put their foot down and say, no, these are important. These issues must be addressed. We are not going to join in and pretend what we were fighting for and what many people died for, aspiring to be an independent country. This is what it means. It doesn't. This is not what we people died for, and that point must be made. And I think people who think we must still nonetheless continue celebrating, I think they're completely missing the point.
There's nothing to celebrate at all. Mukoma, if you were living in Harare or in Zimbabwe for that matter, would you have gone there?
I even when I was in Zimbabwe, I stopped going to some of these independence celebrations, Heroes Day and so forth. To be quite honest, it's a mockery of what the whole thing was all about. Those people who actually died for Zimbabwe's independence, those people who went to the war and never came back, they must be turning in their graves to see what Zimbabwe has become. Because it is not what people were fighting for. So what is there to celebrate if that is what we have got is a forgery? It's not the real thing that we were after. If anything at all, by celebrating, we encouraging it to continue. And I think I like some of the comments that some of the guys were saying there as well about the opposition being sucked into joining ZANU-PF in this celebration. One of the things that Mnangagwa has been very good at is this charm offensive. He has gone way out to charm the international community to accept him as there's been significant change in Zimbabwe. He has gone all out to charm the opposition. He desperately wants the opposition to continue participating in these coming elections, and so that they are seen as a meaningful democratic process, when in reality they are not. And at the end of the day, is the ordinary Zimbabwean who would have been shortchanged. The elections are not going to be free, fair, and credible. That is fundamental. How can it be free, fair, and credible when you don't even have a free press? He was telling the Americans the other week that when he announces the date of the election, he will also, from that day, the opposition will be allowed to be covered in the public media. So are we saying here that the free press means for that 4 weeks during the campaign, MDC and all these other parties can finally be covered on television and radio and have their adverts in the Herald and Chronicle that constitute a free media? And the people can say, yes, I was able to elect a party or candidate of my choice because I was well informed. Just from those 4 weeks? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a joke.
You're right. It's a joke. Chamisa was ill-informed to attend such?
Well, the problem with the opposition, as I've personally said here, is that the opposition have been sucked in by ZANU-PF. The worst case was during the GNU. They didn't implement any democratic reforms. And now for them, they keep saying we are going to have reforms implemented and we are not going to stand in the elections. And yet they are doing everything to make sure they are actually participating in the elections. So what they are doing now is playing two things in one breath. They want to give the people the impression that yes, they are the real opposition, the real thing, and they are fighting ZANU-PF all the way. But in reality, they are not. The opposition are in these elections for the sake of the few seats that ZANU-PF always give away during elections. and they know it. And people like Chamisa, his sole ambition is to remain the Zimbabwe's main opposition party, the leader of the Zimbabwe's main opposition party. That is his ambition. He doesn't care that the elections are not free, fair, and credible, and that ZANU-PF will win them. And like some people are suggesting now, that he may even have his ambition of looking at when the elections are done, he may even be invited into a government of national unity with ZANU-PF, where him and if one or two other guys in MDC maybe are given positions. Even if they're not given positions, ZANU-PF is going to look after them. ZANU-PF is shown, if you are not critical of ZANU-PF and you cooperate with them, and in this particular case, Mnangagwa desperately needs the opposition to continue participating in these elections, and so that they can have some credibility as being free, fair, and credible. Even if there is so many things that are blatantly obvious that it is impossible for the elections to be free, fair, and credible. But Mnangagwa desperately needs them in. And I am convinced, and I will say it here and now, that Mnangagwa will even help MDC and some of these opposition parties fund them privately, indirectly, to make sure that they participate in these elections.
To make it credible to the outside world. Okay, thank you so much, Mkoma Wilbert, on that. I've got a question here coming in from one of our valued listeners, Samanyika. I wonder kuti munopa kupi kumanyika mokotuza kana maso this message tiziwaneka kuti muri Samanyika upi chaiye. Kwanzi DJ, can you ask Sekuru kuti if MDC happen to win the forthcoming general elections and get into power, are they going to celebrate independence as an annual event? Question marking.
Does he want an answer, Samanyika?
Sorry?
Does he want an answer for that?
Yes, he's asking you. He's asking, please, can you ask Sekuru if MDC happen to win the forthcoming general election and get into power, are they going to celebrate independence as an annual event?
MDC does not celebrate independence, because MDC is not independent, is not the only basic beneficiary of independence. Independence is celebrated by Zimbabweans, not by a party. That is where we start from the wrong foot. We need to celebrate it as a nation. If we agree that we are now truly, we are now liberated in terms of all our freedoms, if we agree that this is a national day of reflecting on our progress from oppression to freedom, if we agree that we are now truly an independent people, why not celebrate that? If MDC is going to celebrate independence as the day when they took power from ZANU, would that same Samanyika be happy and say, now we are independent because MDC has taken power?
Right, okay. So independence is not for the party, but it's for the people.
Yes.
Right. So who organized these independence celebrations?
The government of the day is supposed to lead in these celebrations because the people demand for them.
Which is what ZANU-PF is doing at the moment.
But ZANU is not doing that. ZANU is calling people or frog marching them, has been frog marching them to these celebrations. And now people, because they become conditioned, they just go there as a means of protecting their livelihood, their fears, their anxieties. They don't know what is going to happen if you stay at your home. They don't know whether the youth will be put on their backs and they will be thoroughly slashed by these marauding youth. Let's be frank. We are saying the government of the day leads these celebrations not out of its own volition, but because the people demand it. Now, when you go to an independence celebration and they start what Mugabe has been doing, saying, British Modi, I mean, is this a person who is supposed to be the leader of the opposition?
Okay. But we didn't
are we
hear...
celebrating? Are we celebrating as a people, or are we celebrating as parties?
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Sekuru, for that. The guy a very quick question there. Tete Rosa, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, may I just ask you a question? Have you been following this court case that Khupe is taken to court, is taken Chamisa to court?
No, I haven't been really following it. This week I've just been really busy.
Okay.
I've just been super busy. I mean, I've seen things here and there, but I haven't really followed just really detailed.
It's really detailed. Okay. I wonder if Sekuru have. Sekuru, have you been following it?
Very closely.
Very closely. And would you like to explain to some of our listeners who don't really know what's happening, where the court case is and any progress in it, and where we are and when we can maybe have the results, come out?
Well, there are two cases. There are two cases going on simultaneously. All of them being handled by Asaston Cook and Maduku for Khupe and Asaston Cook for Chamisa. What has happened is the first case, Morgan Komich, the deputy MDC chairman, now elevated to acting chairman as a result of the resignation or the forced resignation of former chairman Love Momo. Applied to Parliament and to the court in Bulawayo, to the High Court in Bulawayo. To Parliament, he applied for the recall of Toko from Parliament. In Bulawayo, he applied for an interdict against Toko, Gudu, and Bebe from purporting to be acting in the name of MDCT and using its emblems, logos, and all its patented regalia. So let me start with the Bulawayo one. The Bulawayo one was, the intention was Togo and her crew had organized a Congress to be staged on the 21st in tandem with what is written in the Constitution, that in the event of the death of a president, the deputy president must act and lead the party into an extraordinary general meeting to elect a new president. Chamisa on the other side had gone to the National Council and persuaded the National Council to endorse him as acting president and eventually substantive president of the MDC. The reason was that because Chamisa was not elected at Congress, he could not cause for the calling of a National Council, a National Congress, because it is outside his capacity. He is not recognized as a delegate at Congress. So he could only rely on the support of the National Council, which then acquiesced to his thinking, in utter disregard of their responsibility to protect the constitution of the party and to implement it in letter and spirit. So Komiti now applies to say Toko and Gutu and Bebe should not misrepresent themselves as MDCT, because Chamisa is now MDCT. But Chamisa cannot be MDCT because the constitution does not recognize this position as a vice president. It only recognizes the deputy president position. So the idea was to stop this Congress from going on by whatever means, including a court injunction, which is what they wanted. They wanted it had urgently, and the injunction issued so that this Congress will not go ahead. Unfortunately for them, the court decided that it is not going to deliver its judgment on the arguments that were presented to them yesterday. And they postponed the matter, the ending down of the judgment to next week on Tuesday. Now Congress will take place, this Congress called by Togo and Kamban is going to take place this Saturday. So by the time the court sees, the Congress will have taken place, and the Congress will have made the resolutions. And those resolutions are now binding on every party member. Whether it was in quorum or not is neither here nor there, because the Constitution is very specific that if the quorum is not reached an hour after the date, the appointment date for the Congress to be staged, then those present can continue and make resolutions. And when they have made those resolutions, then if the National Council is aggrieved, it can then call for a Congress after 6 months from the date of the incorporate Congress. So what that means is, if this Congress on Saturday goes on to make resolutions, and the Chamisa's group is aggrieved, they can only resolve that by calling for another Congress, for requesting a Congress from Togo, or from whoever would have been elected president, because they are going to elect a president. For definite, they are going to elect an MDCT president. And if they do that, then the committee and his group must then approach the secretary of the National Council and a requisition by a 2/3 majority, a requisition for a Congress to be staged 6 months later. And then 6 months later, we will have gone through the election. So I don't know whether it is advisable for them to boycott and allow these people to make a decision if they don't go as a National Council, and then they will complain later as per the Constitution, or they go to court and they are told they should complain as per the Constitution, or whether it is appropriate for them to go to this Congress and they argue their case and they vote to go out if they can, or whoever is contesting and they voting the person they want. If I was them, I would go to this Congress in number, within my numbers, and they elect the person that we want. And if that's it, then the problem is solved. Now the other problem that is now at the Concord is the recall of Togo. Togo has submitted a constitutional challenge to say the speaker acted out of malice by listening to a person who is not even authorized by the FDC constitution to make a complaint against the president of the party in the manner of recalling him without going to Congress. The arguments were, the matter was filed yesterday, and arguments will be before that court very shortly.
Yeah, Sekuru, you have explained quite a lot there, even though I'm lost in some cases, but I was trying to follow it. But I'm sure we shall see where this story is heading, but I don't know whether it will end in harmony then with what is happening. Only hope that things are going to be resolved peacefully, and everyone can move on from this. But anyway, Jisne, thank you so much, Sekuru, for that. And so, Tete Mashoko. Tete mashoko muchikwera.
Ndiripo zvo.
Mama kuzinzwa zvekutaurwa nasekuru izvo. Pane nyaya.
Hapana nyaya. Nyaya from day one yakagara iripo.
Yeah, tichawana kuchawira tsvimbo nedohwa wanotaura vakuru.
Ndizvozvo. Having said that, whatever they are doing, they are falling smack into the hands of ZANU-PF. Panenga pangorine confusion or disagreements, somebody walks away and not to benefit from that. Losaka vamwe vachiva multi-millionaires during the war, vamwe vachilose everything. Nekuti I still maintain kuti it's too close to elections for all this kerfuffle. People should have just sit down, agreed. But my egos achona vanhu vachona vese vari involved. They are larger than themselves. At the end of the day, one thing that every person is forgetting here, they are supposed to be working for the people. What is best for the people? It's not about power hungry. People are so power hungry. It's about vanhu. People have suffered. Tikubva kutaura nezvemanesi. Tikubva kutaura zvemaresources ari kuramba achingobiwa vanhu vakatarisa. Muri busy kupokana nekutswinyana nana Khupe nana Chamisa and so forth. Vanhu vari busy kuba nemaChina vachinosaina ma-contract nema-loan nemanhankere ma-projects nemaChina. Nobody lifts a finger. You know, we are worst enemies, Zimbabweans. Hakuna munhu ari dangerous pasi panapa panenge an educated fool. Nekuti when you are educated and you don't use your education, kunyatsogara pasi kunyatsoona kuti okay, chiri right at this moment in time they're cheap. And then you use that education kuti, oh well, but no, in actual fact, and then it's like cutting your nose to spite your face. It's your face at the end of the day that won't have a nose. It just doesn't make sense. Zimbabweans, no wonder why, you know. I spent quite a bit of time this past weekend because we were stuck in a snowstorm per Facebook. And I was just reading my comments, and it was so sad to see all of them writing. I checked out long back. Zimbabwean politics, madaka chayo chayo. Madaga, it's just very so concrete. Akuna anouya achitaura kuti no middle ground. Let's meet, let's negotiate, let's see what is right for these people. Let's give back dignity by providing mvura zvayo yakachena. Chachishinakidza kuona mapicture evanhu mumahospital vachigive birth on the floor. Chichinonakidza ipapo. And it doesn't tickle any person. Especially my leaders. It's just, it's so frustrating, really. Sad.
Interesting.
You know what, can I respond to that? I think I agree with Antoko wholeheartedly and thoroughly. I have tried to knock sense into these people. I'm not looking for a position in the MPC. I am a member from its founding days. I am connected to all these guys. I have been trying all I can to say, you guys, the solution is not in you. The solution is in the people because you were elected to represent the people. So go to the people and ask them what to do, and they will tell you. Why are you refusing to give them a chance to tell you what they want? Why are you fighting over a Congress which is stated in the Constitution that it must be staged at this point in time? Why are you arguing over that? Then you get these arguments like Atina Mari, Atinachi. I think that's all nonsensical because they have not even approached a single member and said we need money for the Congress.
But where's Chamisa getting his money for all the cars and the escorts and the bodyguards and the everything else? Where's that coming from?
I don't care where it is coming from. My point is the people must be given an opportunity to voice and to decide who will lead them. Be it Chamisa, be it...
Sekuru, the people are an inconvenience.
Well, but then that's why I am agreeing with Toko there. Toko is saying exactly that. She's saying we are actually continuing with the subjugation of our people into oppression and more oppression. instead of building them up to become. I'm lost for words. I'm so angry. We should be building up our people to become dignified people, people who participate in the affairs of their country, people who do make contributions that are lasting, people who then say we are the ones who determine the fate of who leads us.
Yeah, we have the power.
Yes.
We have the power.
But
you are there to serve us.
But when there is an argument that you can't give them the forum where they can express that, where do we start from now?
It's easy. One thing that I understand about Zimbabwean politics, my old guards know each other very well, very, very well. If they want to resolve this, they can.
Of course they can.
Repeatedly, you are showing vanhu vane that power yekukwanisa kuunza vanhu kuti titaurirane kuno kobva message inenge yakabatana London and so forth and so on. Ivo vemuZimbabwe kutaura navo vanhu monzwa kuti vari kudai, because hapana time yecongress, mari yachona even yecongress yachona iripo here. At the end of the day, it's about just respecting people. It's about going back to the people and saying, you know what, we're really concerned about this. But imimichitipai guidance, yokuti toita say, then you just, even though vanhu vanga vachiziva zvavari kuda kuita, but hakuna chinhu chakanaka fanika respect. Hakuna. Munoziva isusu takarererwa pakunzi madzibaba edu vaya vakakurira kumamisha. Tainzi endai kumamisha and mozoenda kutown. And the reason yavaitira izvozvo taidzidziswa hunhu chaiwo. Taizosara todzokera zvedu kuchirungu, but we were always taught tune. And I always remembered mausiku zvezve kwaiti nyangwe chinhu chakaipa chikaitika kupi chaiunzwa mumusha, waiona vakuru vese vounzwa dzingwa maidzingwa, asi it was kusumana, word rekuti kusumwa, word rekuti vanhu munotaurirana monyatsoti tatadza kuwirirana. Saka zvatatadza kuwirirana, ndiani wototora otiudza otipagwara. Gwara iroro raisungwa, whoever is there ndo raizoenda mberi. Mari ine chitema. Every person who is involved, including Toko, look, you can all say zvamunoda kuti inini I'm against feminism and so forth. I love it. Toko was like tasted in politics because of Mari. On top of disrespecting Trangirai. Saka mumwe na umwe ane zvaanoda, ane zvaasingadi about it. But give people a chance and respect them. And respect kuti nobody should ever be eating mbeva in a country that is so rich. Nobody should be doing that. Nobody should be giving birth on the floor.
Okay.
A dirty floor.
All right. Tete regaindiwerenge message kupinda kwanzi DJ ayawo mahumbi MDC ayo. Please give us Mama. Oh, I don't know. Let me just read it as it is. Please Mama, give us the signal. Kana vasiri kuona signal yacho ameno. An MDC-led government would take the country down the drain. Zvekuti Monozototi Mugabe was a hero. MDC people are selfish, self-centered, power-hungry, and clueless. That's one of the listeners writing to me there.
And ZANU-PF?
Can I respond to that? I don't think the MDC people are whatever he has described is clueless, selfish and whatever.
Yeah.
I think there are a few individuals in the top that have taken advantage of a power vacuum at the top and are fighting. I personally don't like it. I don't care what anybody else will tell me. I don't like people who then use these opportunities to shatter the hopes of the majority. That's why, in my view, I have always stated that I am for the constitutional arrangement and I will stick with that until I die, because going out of the constitution creates a bigger problem than staying in it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. Okay. Sekuru, you don't mince your words, and I know that a couple of weeks you took on Peve on this show, and you don't mince your words. You said you want things to be done constitutionally. Now, if anyone bends the constitutional rule with you, you're not going to tolerate it, and you're not going to accept any of it.
No, I won't. I will never do that, because then I'll be selling out on the hopes of the people. The hopes of the people is that they are a participatory group. They've got a right which is equal to anyone else to determine their fate. And nobody should appropriate himself that responsibility. That responsibility must remain with the people, and the people must see it to be remaining with them.
You know, another thing from what Toko was saying, okay? There's a big problem also in Zimbabwe. The people have to learn to stand up, not to keep on allowing themselves to be trampled on. And once they can do that, then there's going to be no politician that can take them for a ride. Because the politicians are only doing what the people allow them to do. If the people said no and voted them out at the next by-election, whatever, municipal election, whatever it was, whatever election, the politicians would have to pull their socks up and they'd start to have to deliver it. But the people don't do that. So the politicians do what the people allow them to do. Don't ever forget that. The politicians aren't completely to blame for what's happened in Zimbabwe. No, 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 no. A politician can't do what the people don't allow him to do.
It's true, that's true.
So we've got to get to a stage where the people have to come out of this, I don't know what it is. It's like they're all playing dead in a graveyard or something. They're going to have to stand up and claim their rights back. Until they do that, there is nothing that Sekuru, that is nothing that the Tete, Choko can do, or Rosie, or any of us can do. Because it's got to come from the ground, the people on the ground.
That is why it is important.
Yes, it has to come from the people on the ground inside Zimbabwe. And until they decide they have had enough and they want their rights and they stand up and they claim them, there is nothing we can do.
Aiwa, thank you so much, Sari, for that. Mkoma Wilbes.
Well, I've been listening to this with great interest, but I just wanted to comment on what Sally was saying there. I think what we've got to also accept as a reality in Zimbabwe is that the ordinary people have got a really serious big disadvantage, particularly the rural people. Go back to 1980, soon after independence. One of the things that ZANU-PF actually did, which is well documented, is in the Lancaster House, the agreement was all the freedom fighters will be withdrawn to assembly points. But ZANU-PF, Mugabe and his cronies decided that a number of their freedom fighters would actually be left in the field. And those are the ones who started the intimidation. When you are in the rural area and you are told that if ZANU-PF loses the election, the civil war will continue, I think it is impossible for you to argue with somebody like that. So even the first elections themselves were not free, fair, and credible. There was massive intimidation. The late Cephas Sipa wrote in his book that in 1980, during the campaign, there were certain areas in Zimbabwe where ZAPU, because he was with ZAPU then, they were not allowed to go. There were no-go areas. And we are seeing this happening again this election. Right now, ZANU-PF has already deployed the war veterans. And we know what they did in 2008. And people like Engelbert Rugenje, he is the national ZANU-PF political commissar, and he has been instrumental in a lot of violence in Masvingo area, because he comes from, I think it's Pikita or Guto, thereabout. And he was boasting that if ZANU-PF doesn't win this year, the violence will continue. So when you have got massive intimidation like that, I think it is impossible for the ordinary person, particularly in the rural area, who are easily intimidated, and we've got no recourse, unlike those in the urban centers who at least are savvy enough to go to lawyers and go to the police and push their case and so forth. In the rural areas, we do not have those opportunities, and they will be frog-marched to vote for ZANU-PF. And I think the main problem here is if we turn around and say those people have got to learn not to vote for ZANU-PF, I think we've missed the point completely. Those people are helpless. Those people are the ones who should be saying this should not be happening to anybody in this century. 38 years after our independence, we still have people who are going to be frog-marched to vote for a party that they really don't want to vote for, but they have no choice. And I think that is bad. And I blame the opposition for dragging us into these elections, knowing that these elections are going to be rigged, knowing fully well that ZANU-PF has got these thugs out there in the rural areas intimidating people. And I think that is unforgivable. That is where I've got a problem with the opposition.
I've got a problem with Wilbert on that issue. I don't know how best I can explain to you.
Yeah, it's been for years, isn't it?
The opposition does not call for elections. The opposition does not ask for elections. The elections are in the constitution. They are slated every 5 years. They have to be held constitutional. And Wilbert is a proponent of the constitutionalism politics. Why he doesn't understand this, that if the opposition does not compete in those elections, whether they are flawed or not, if they don't compete, they will still lose. I don't understand why he doesn't understand that. Because the constitution does not say if the opposition does not participate, then the elections are invalid. Anybody who is nominated on due date at the nomination court unopposed becomes automatically elected. So I've got a problem when he says the opposition
that bit, Sekuro, I understand.
So
there are two things that you don't have to understand.
So what is the opposition supposed to do when the elections are called, and they are called in terms of the constitution?
That bit I understand. Can I just reply to that?
Yeah.
To start with, since 2008, those elections in 2008 were a landmark elections in the sense that they showed just the latitude of ZANU-PF's ability to cheat and rig the elections. And that is why the GNU was formed. The GNU's purpose was to make sure that that doesn't happen ever again. The whole 5 years of the GNU was supposed to be implementing the reforms so that that doesn't happen. We don't have those cheating and violence again. And that did not happen. And that you've got to accept at least that MDC was responsible for that. And
no, I don't accept that.
No way.
Finish, then you can answer it. Then in 2013, just before the 2013 election, SADC, who were the guarantor of the GNU of 2008, turned around and said, without these reforms, we are going to have a repeat of 2008. That is why we asked the opposition, in fact, they asked both ZANU-PF and the opposition in Maputo that the elections should not go ahead until reforms are implemented.
They advised them.
And ZANU-PF, of course, they wanted the elections to go ahead, but MDC did not have to participate. SADC would, as still the guarantor of those elections, because until the elections were held and the results announced, SADC still had a role in Zimbabwe politics. And at that point, they would have said these elections could not possibly be free, fair, and credible because the reforms were not implemented. And that point is accepted. And people like David Coulthard have acknowledged it in his own book. I'm just surprised that people like Sekuru seem to have problems getting their heads to understand that problem. You know, that is a fact. That is a
same problem that you have understanding the fact that it doesn't matter if they boycott the elections or not, because it has to be a massive boycott for it to be effective. SADC wouldn't have done a thing if MDC had refused to participate in those elections.
How many by-elections have taken place without MDC? Has that stopped the by-election from happening? Or has ZANU-PF always made sure there is an opposition to oppose them?
They pretend to fire people.
Yes, I mean ZANU-PF
and put them in as an independent.
Rose, don't confuse the by-election with the national election.
Yeah, but that's an indicator. Even the national. Can I finish what I'm saying? I know what SADC said. And ZANU-PF made sure there was an election. They even had someone go to court. That jealous Mawarire.
That's correct. Yeah.
To force an election to take place, and it was ruled that an election needed to take place. And ZANU-PF had an election.
Can I answer you
know, but ZANU-PF, can I finish? I haven't even finished. If you look at everything, if you look at everything after 2013, where MDC said we're not going to go to an election anymore. If you look at every constituency, because I actually sat down and I counted my opposition Ashanga run against ZANU-PF. There's always an opposition to run against ZANU-PF. This year there's 100 and something political parties.
146 to be exact.
146. So yes, MDC can stay at home. But there's 145 political parties that will show up for that election.
Now, can I answer you? Let's have a dialogue, Rose. Let's have a dialogue.
Yeah, but I haven't finished my comment.
Yeah, but you're bringing in too many issues.
But to you, let me finish, and then you can talk about your issues. The problem in Zimbabwe is not kuti. Opposition has issues, a lot of them. We're not going to deny the opposition in my issues. We don't even know what's opposition, what's not right now. Yeah. It's confusing. Okay? But the reason for that, why we have a situation like that, is because we have a monster called ZANU-PF that swallows, devours plans. This is the second when I hear people saying, hey, Munanga, see, that we can work with ZANU-PF. When has anyone worked with ZANU-PF and it has worked? Or ZANU-PF works with you while they plot, plan, and then stab you in the back. That's ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF has created such an integrated system that is difficult to uproot. And it's going to be even more difficult now that we have the military at the forefront. Tunotonema problems are bigger than all of us can even complain about. That are bigger than even the issues that Ndiani president MDC.
Okay.
Because if we're not careful, where we're going is we're going the way of North Korea. We're going to a one-party state where they had created their own pseudo opposition. And they don't get opposition. Because they don't care what's happening tomorrow. ZANU-PF is the problem.
Okay, right. Again,
Give
but
Wilbert a chance to respond to that.
yes, go ahead.
The issue here is that although Ross keep talking of ZANU-PF is a monster, the fact of the matter is, after the 2008 elections, ZANU-PF Mugabe was forced to go into the GNU to sign the global political agreement, which listed a raft of democratic reforms that had to be implemented. Mugabe did not want to go into that GNU, but he was forced. Because he was told in no uncertain terms that those elections, we don't accept those results by SADC, by AU, by the international community. They rejected the 2008 results because there were violence, there was blatant cheating and so forth. So that was the time when you had ZANU-PF with being told you've got to sit down and be part of the GNU, and SADC played the supervising role. That is a fact. That is a historic fact. And as for the by-election, SADC does not supervise by-elections. So you don't need SADC there. You don't need to bring in SADC there. And in 2013, when SADC said, do not participate in these elections, because if you do, these elections are already rigged, and you go ahead and participate, what else did you want SADC to do?
SADC didn't say don't participate. They said we advise you not to. Don't keep on with the...
And then can I just correct my point here?
Sally, if you read an interview that was given by
it said advise.
Mandaza, which was quoted in Mandaza's webpage. He was there and he quoted. The quotation is, if you go into the next elections, you are going to lose. The elections are done. That was a quotation of what SADC said to
I'm sorry.
The point is SADC had the opportunity.
Okay, guys. All right,
and the reforms. And we've got to accept that at least. Everything.
No. Hold on, guys. Mukama Wilbert, can I speak to you a bit? Mukama Wilbert, I mean, this issue, I know that you've been telling us for the past, I don't know how many years now, but I'm just wondering here. My understanding is if you boycott, the other guy will win anyway. Because in the constitution it's saying, if there's two fighters there and the other one saying, and the ring, I'm boycotting, the other one wins. There's no question about that. So I don't know where your argument is coming from.
Yes, but that is exactly what happened in 2008.
Okay.
Mugabe withdrew from the runoff, and Mugabe was declared the winner with 87%. But that's where SADC said we don't recognize that result because there was so much violence, there was so much rigging. We do not recognize that. And
can you stop there?
Can I say something?
And that comes back to the point.
SADC was pushed to say that.
Saying I've won, and then nobody recognizes you. It's illegitimate.
No, but Wilbert, can you stop there, Timbo Funzaipapu? Right. When SADC realized that Changra had pulled out and Mugabe had gone ahead with the election, and they had said, this, we don't accept it. Why did they then go to negotiate with Mugabe?
Sekuru, I think that point I've said it myself. I agree. And personally, I said even Changirai should not have gone into the negotiations for the GNU.
Don't talk about
if we accept let me finish that point.
Wilbert, answer my question. Sadiq, you said Sadiq had the power to stop the election of a president by illegitimizing him. Now they said you are illegitimate, we don't recognize you. Why then did they go and talk to him?
Why did there have to be a GNU then?
The
Why didn't
GNU
they
was
do?
the
Why
way
didn't
out.
they do what happened? What country was that?
Let me answer
Why
you.
didn't they? Why didn't SADC do what ECOWAS did and said you better leave, or else we're coming for you? Because they could have done that.
SADC was pushed into making that GNU by the international community.